So I wanted to share a little life hack that I came to think about very recently on how to be more productive as an entrepreneur. And this doesn't apply to someone who's working a normal job. This is specifically for someone who's looking to succeed as an entrepreneur. So a life hack that you can use as an entrepreneur that is very unconventional, maybe a bit controversial, but that I have found to be very, very effective in increasing your output and increasing your work ethic is simply to increase your costs and spendings. And I know this may sound crazy. Let me explain. When you're an entrepreneur and you increase your costs and your spendings, you put yourself in a position where you have to perform. You don't give yourself a choice. There's no safety net. Your back is put against the wall. And now you have to perform. You have to do what you have to do in order to survive, in order to pay the bills, have food on the table. You have to. It's not a choice. It's not about what you want to do or what you feel like doing. You actually have to do it. You have to make it happen. However, if your costs are minimal to the point where you can kind of get by for a very long time without making any money whatsoever or very little, to the point where you're very comfortable and you don't really have to perform. Like it would be nice if you did, but you don't have to. Then what happens when you're at that point and you have that mentality and you know you have a big safety net is you will not perform. Because as entrepreneurs, it is very different to working a normal job or going to school. There is no blueprint, and if you don't have to perform, there is no one that's going to force you to perform, and therefore you will not do it. You will not work hard. You will only do when you feel like doing it, when it's convenient to you. That's the worst thing you can have as an entrepreneur. That you only need to work, or not even need, you only want to work when it's convenient to you. If you only do the work when it's convenient to you because you don't really have to do the work, you're getting by with the money that you have and you don't have a lot of costs, then you will not do the work. You will shy away from it and you will only do it when you feel you're very most motivated, right? When you feel the most motivated throughout the week or month or whatever, that's when you will do it. But that's not enough. As you know, as everyone watching this video probably know, that working only when you feel like working is not enough. You will not get to where you need to get to and where you want to get to by only doing the work when you feel like doing the work. But when you increase your costs, you put yourself under tactical stress. It is going to stress you out. It's going to give you anxiety. It's going to make you feel like shit. But it's going to force you to do the work. So if I take a very specific example, if I look back at last year, 1 year ago, I was living at home. I was living at home with my mom. My rent was very cheap and I didn't have a lot of costs. My costs were very minimal and that put me in a very comfortable situation where I didn't really have to work. I didn't really have to perform. I would get by just fine if I just skipped work that day. Sure, I'd feel a little shit, I'd feel lazy, but I didn't have to do the work. I had so much money saved up and I was living with minimal costs. I was spending nothing. I was buying food, supplements, going to the gym, and that was it. I wasn't buying new things. I was very minimal. And that was bad. I wasn't working as hard as I could have. I was very lazy. My work ethic was bad. Could have been way, way better. I was still working, but not as well as I could have. So that's the bad thing, right? And then at the beginning of this year, I decided to move to Thailand without making a lot of money online. I was making barely anything, very little, minimal. But I still decided to move to Thailand for 4 months and just get out of here, increase my costs, increase my spendings. And guess what happened? I started performing more, I started doing more work, I got more uncomfortable, and my output increased dramatically. And what do you know? Now I make more money. I make significantly more, and I'm in a way better position than I was in 1 year ago, right? And that's just an example of what that can do to you. And I know it's very uncomfortable when you're going to do that to yourself. You have to do it in a smart way, increasing your costs. You have to know what you're doing. You have to be smart about it. You have to be tactical about it. And you have to be calculated with it. If you're a 9 to 5 worker, this is the worst thing you can do. This doesn't apply for 9 to 5 workers. Because as a 9 to 5 workers, you should be minimal with your spending. You should stack up your cash, invest that so you can finally break free. However, if you're an entrepreneur, you can control the amount of money you make. It's very different. With a job, you can't really control your income. You can get that yearly raise, barely even, like, barely get like a dent or make a dent in your income. You're not going to notice it. It's so minimal that it's not going to do anything. And even if you do well at that job, you're probably still not going to get a raise because companies do not want to give their employees raises. They want to avoid that at all cost. But even if you do get a raise, it's not going to be much and it's not going to be significant. So your income doesn't increase that much as a 9 to 5 worker. Therefore, you can't just increase your spendings because that's just going to hurt you, right? So the way you do it, you stack cash as a 9 to 5 worker, you invest that money so you can break free. Or you save that money so you have something to live off of when you do eventually decide to leave that job. But as an entrepreneur, it's very, very different. You can actually spend, you can actually, like, what I'm trying to say is you can actually control your earnings, you can control your income. So if you start spending more, if you start spending more to the point where it's hurting your bank account, you're spending more than you're making, now you're forced to make more money. You will put yourself in a position where you learn how to make more money because you're forced to. And when you put yourself in that position, everything in your life changes. Now, all of a sudden, you've built income streams that make significantly more than what you're spending, right? And now you're covering those costs comfortably, even though you're spending much more than you used to. You're putting yourself under tactical stress, and it's very smart. I know a guy from a network I'm a part of. What he did, he's currently living in Bangkok, Thailand, and he started renting a very expensive penthouse. I think it's around 5K USD per month. That's a lot of money just to live somewhere, especially for some place like Thailand. Thailand is pretty cheap. Paying that amount of money just to live in a penthouse in Thailand is it's insane. But he put himself under tactical stress and now he makes way more money than when he started renting that apartment, right? That's the kind of tactical stress you can put yourself under. It may sound very unconventional and very inconvenient, like it's gonna hurt you, but if you're an entrepreneur and your costs are minimal, you're not putting yourself in a good position to succeed because you will be very comfortable. You will have a scarcity mindset when it comes to money and you will not feel comfortable spending more. So you will also have this mentality that I should save and hold on to my money because I can't spend that much. When you have that mentality as an entrepreneur, you have the same mentality as a 9 to 5 worker, spending and hoarding your money and holding on to it. And that's not a good thing. As an entrepreneur, you shouldn't hold on to money that lose their value each and every single year due to inflation. What you should do is look to make more money. That's the best thing you can do as an entrepreneur. You shouldn't be happy with making minimal money and then keeping your spendings and costs minimally. That doesn't make any sense. That's not going to be enjoyable and sustainable for you. So what you have to do is you have to look at it from a different perspective. Increase your cost and have an abundance mindset. Now you'll be forced to perform. You'll be forced to actually do what you need to do to succeed. So think about it, guys. Do this, but do it very responsibly. Don't be a fucking dickhead. Don't be a dumbass. Do it responsibly. Use your brain and be calculated. Increase your costs a little bit. Move out of your home. Maybe get a car. Maybe like buy more things. Be less frugal. Buy people dinner that you're going out with. Be that kind of person that doesn't hoard their money and hold on to every single penny. Having that scarcity mindset will not get you anywhere. Being like super risk prone, not risk prone, but afraid of risks when when you're not making a lot of money and when you're an entrepreneur it's the wrong mentality. As an entrepreneur, the worst thing you can be is being afraid of risks. So you have to be willing to spend a little bit more. That's the main characteristic of an entrepreneur, someone that takes risks. So increase those costs, do it responsibly. I'm not saying, burn all your money at a club and hookers and cocaine and shit like that. I'm not saying do that. Be responsible and be smart. Don't be afraid to invest in yourself. Don't be afraid to buy people dinner. Don't be afraid to do good deeds. Don't be afraid to live a little bit better and more comfortably. Don't be afraid to, maybe lease a car or whatever. Live a little bit above your means, so you're forced to level up. And I know a lot of people are going to say this advice is very unconventional. It's not practical, uh, but it does work if you don't succumb to the pressure of spending more than you make. If you use that pressure and that stress in a good manner, in an efficient way, where it becomes tactical stress instead of stress that burdens you, you can level up dramatically and significantly. A lot of people, well, not that many people, but some entrepreneurs, they perform and operate the best when they are under stress and pressure. So when you put yourself under deliberate pressure, you will perform better. But the people that do not perform under pressure should probably not be entrepreneurs to begin with. If you're that kind of entrepreneur that when life gets pressuring for you and things start getting a bit hectic and you can't keep up and you can't adapt to that, you probably shouldn't be an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur should be able to deal with that stress and pressure. That's why this kind of method of making more money by increasing your costs can be super beneficial if you have the right mentality and you're stoic. So, if you're an entrepreneur, give this a go, but do it at your own risk and be calculated and smart when you do it. And I assure you, you're going to perform better, you're going to do more, you're going to work harder. Sure, you're going to be under more stress and pressure, but the end result is going to be better than if you're comfortable. And if you are a 9 to 5 worker, do not do this. This is stupid because you can't really control your income as you can as an entrepreneur. Because as an entrepreneur, you can actually control your income in a better, like in a more efficient way than you can as an employee. So don't do this as an employee. It's better that you just stack up your cash, invest, save, so you can break free, and then you start doing things differently. So you have to shift that mindset from the 9 to 5 mindset to the entrepreneur mindset. But it's very difficult to make that shift like when you've worked a normal job your entire life, or and you've had a very specific mindset that's been programmed onto you for all your life, right? But if you're able to break free from that once you become an entrepreneur and think differently, that's when you succeed. So use this at your own risk. It worked very well for me and a lot of people that I do know. And if you use it properly and in the right manner, you're gonna see amazing things happening in your life. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys today, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.